lotion on, but it doesn't feel like it did. In a hurry to unload my mind. So, Glenn's gonna soon be playing piano downstairs, but I'm gonna be. Well, actually, if you want, you can put the pizza in, and then on light or whatever, and then I'll come down and make whatever I'm making. Again, we got mostly pop, snacks, sauces. We actually could have stood to order some pasta. So to maybe tomorrow, I wouldn't mind getting something for my breakfast and pasta. Those are all things we forgot. In the meantime, I'm just going to try and do a quick video here because I had some realizations. And you know what? I've had them. Yeah, maybe I don't know. I've maybe had some of these before, but they sit differently now. And I think it's because I am. And as Lindsay, well, see the previous video explains what I did here. I had been stuck and struggling and seeing so many other people move ahead, getting what they want to do in life and this and that. And I'm not completely out of the woods. And it's hard to feel like nothing is certain or promised sometimes. But and I think I was becoming bitter, to be honest. Not, but you know what the thing is? I don't feel like that was repelling people because it was mostly inner, or at least not shared really. Well, maybe a little online, but anybody it was like it was Robin Williams kind of situation. Anybody I was ever around in person, happy go lucky, blah blah blah. And it's not to say that I wasn't happy about some things. And we all vent sometimes, or try and get things off our chest, this and that. But point of the matter is that like for anxiety, but now I got a good pair of shoes because I need to have at least one or two because I'm going out more. Although I think I have so like the second time I've almost said it that way, seasonal affective disorder a little bit. I mean, I have lived here for a long time, but I was raised in they got snow, don't get me wrong, but in Ontario, a fairly mild climate. Very, very hot summers, actually, as well. But I don't know how you can have humidity in winter. But anyway, I'm not a meteorologist. But basically, yeah. So basically, the and yeah, make sure you put the pizza in. Don't forget. Basically, it's kind of like, yeah. So I have to make sure that's really good and I have other things to do. I don't have a lot of energy. I was really hoping I might run into someone I was familiar with while I was out dog walking because, I've alluded to it in a couple comments in groups or whatever as we get a viewer, and don't be shy. And I have, and glad, like I noticed I was doing it around some of these new contacts recently where I was folding my arms. I'm glad they didn't think too much into it because I was really just simply folding my arms. Body language can mean things, but not always, right? But anywho, so it's kind of like I don't have a lot of family living local. That might be changing soon, some ways. Chosen family and also in general. I don't know if we want to connect with the cook shop, but yeah. Anywho, but basically, yeah. So, and I know that the videos have been quiet, but whatever. But basically, and I have mostly acquaintances. So the people that know about these changes is mostly my spouse. Is the people that are also in these situations with me. One, I think just one so far, and it was kind of spur of the moment this morning because of coffee instead of all things. But somebody on support line, and I sent to I did send to my mother. She really didn't have much response, and my brother I haven't heard from yet, but that was just today. Basically, what's the other thing? Because we need to complete that deal tomorrow. But yeah, so and if I put this over here for a moment, then I can see the tab I'm in. I just want to look over here. And I'm also thinking about, it's weird that it sends an email to himself saying he's live. And yeah, I mean, we know that. Anywho, it's just, I don't know how many Facebook followers are on here, and some of them might know me then. But anyway, basically, one person did rave at me, but I had my hands full of recycling and the dog, on the leash, who I might bring to Clara's if she lives by and she's okay with that. Even if she has a cat, I mean, I think he'd settle down on my lap or on the floor, and hopefully she could put the cat somewhere upstairs or whatever. Or I don't know. But anyway, the point of the matter is that, like, my dad was very much the same way in a lot of ways. Take people for their word, take people as genuine, kind of thing. I mean, I only had him for 11 years, and I had a lot of activities I was involved in and workers and that. But I seem to remember hearing that was the way he is, and I do get that sense. And basically, I'm the same way. So when we were out for a walk, I didn't think I was going to go very far, but I wasn't wearing great shoes. It actually, even though it was starting to get dark, it was fairly mild. And I was actually wearing some because I really didn't plan to go very far. Like I say, I was okay in shorts though. And the dog was so excited when we left, and he missed his earlier walk. And so basically, it was kind of like, yeah. I mean, our yard, when it's filled out, and it's a busy corner, which in some ways is good, but also, it's just not set up for yard. And actually, we don't actually have as much stuff as I thought we did. But point of the matter is that an example. That's Glenn. I'm going to get connected. People have different reasons for why they do what they do, and they don't always communicate very well. It's a skill that we usually learn fairly early in life, but there are various reasons actually psychologically sometimes for that. Especially if one struggles to own their feelings and own their responsibilities and things sometimes. But basically, yeah, it's kind of like, let's see, I'm on the piano. It's like, so we met somebody at a yard sale we had once, and she was randomly, there was a couple other ones on the street, and one of them was this house. She randomly mentioned this couple, and he didn't know, unless when I told him on a different occasion when he was like, Callie? Yeah. My mother's dog at the time. I almost forget to pass. I mean, I hadn't seen her a lot, and in many years because I moved and stuff. But basically, so that's a dog walk off leash, and his dog's fine. It's old and it's fine, but it's still a dog that could run out onto the road or not be looking for traffic or chase after a squirrel, chase after a rabbit, or somebody else's dog might not be nice. Blah blah blah. I mean, and maybe at certain moments he wouldn't come to him if he was called kind of thing. So I don't like it, and I didn't like how I had the dog run. But more so, this lady, not the one that lived there, had said, I was watching a video the other day, and it was kind of about psychology and stuff like that, and she gave a real experience and helped make it make sense a little bit. Basically, and sorry I said basically a lot, but basically, no, and that'll probably though. And she said, she said, well, we might be interested. We're looking for somewhere closer than where my daughter currently takes piano lessons or music lessons of some sort. And I broached to Glenn and broached about me, and it was a nice interaction. She told us that they were trying to find someone to help with landscaping. Somebody else she knew on our street. So being stuck and not wanting to be, I eagerly rushed down there and offer. I didn't understand the husband's answer. I mean, definitely this is a common relationship dynamic. It's not necessarily healthy, and it's not necessarily everyone's. But where it was kind of like he said, at one point it would have to be up to the wife. We saw him at an ice cream place once. They were triggered because they had a slightly awkward experience. I was thinking about Rika actually. I can't remember why. Oh, right. Why? That's the answer. Just kidding. But anyway, so basically, and it's one thing I didn't bring up here is lotion. They were running a sales, but I got to talk to the wife, and I think she said maybe in the next season, which didn't make much sense to me, but because I didn't think it would need to be, whatever it was, would need to be done as much sense. I walked past them one time, actually, and so I think they were helping. So I don't know, maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, and I guess some people that have family and friends and have good ones would say, they're the first choice. I mean, if either of them, and he looks so sad, like he felt bad about it, but didn't say anything. If either of them ever did try our door, if they tried the doorbell, there's a sign that says doesn't work, although it's on the inside door. If they knocked, I either wasn't home or didn't hear it. I would have put, because I'm, would want that assurance myself, and I would know that I dealt with it as I should, and didn't leave the other person wondering. I'm used to how I think sometimes. But we're all human. We all have so much similarities amongst the differences. So but anyway, basically, I would have put something in the mailbox, expressing my genuine apology that, we've talked about. This is just an example, right? Having you help us, but we're going to go with family instead. I would have still been disappointed, but it would have been better than the nothing I got. I just don't want to get all bundled up, and I want to have dinner and do other things soon. It's only 5 o'clock. It's getting dark out. I did something. I'm not sure, and didn't in a way too, if I'm happy about it, but because it doesn't just affect them, and in fact, it might affect them the least. If they go with the dog, but and they have a big boulevard. But I did partially do the right thing. And it's not really in the direction I often go, unfortunately. But on the way back, sometimes I think it is, actually. It's not like I carry that bag around me. Well, empty bag. Anyway, basically, and it was kind of like they started interested. I offered nicely. Why wouldn't it happen? It never did. And I have a lot of positive things on the horizon, more than I've felt in a while. And I hope that, there's somebody there who was on one of my podcasts. And as I said to my worker, I said, I haven't seen him around yet, but this other person, but I said to him, not that I'm trying to be Ellen or Oprah or any other host or whatever. And I'm not at that caliber. However, doing interviews is not that hard as far as I'm concerned. I'm not asking for millions of dollars. In fact, they don't even book they're not their own crew. I do a lot more work, essentially. But basically, it's kind of like, I'm not trying to be them, but at the same time, just like whether it's mental health work or whatever, I feel like I deserve, as great as it is just to do the things and fun too, compensation just like anybody else. And so basically, it was kind of like I gotta think of Hannah, maybe Julia. Other than that, there's actually people I probably would want to run into. But it was kind of like, I hope you remember to put the pizza in. What? Yeah, but did you put the pizza in? Okay, thank you. But yeah, basically, no, and he forgot his phone. Just put that down there. So I'm saying basically so much. It's kind of, I guess, my way of kind of getting myself back to the point I'm trying to make. Basically, maybe it's Canadian. I don't know. I am anyway. I did honestly. I'm not even trying to be funny. Sometimes I would do that, but no. Basically, I'm not. I basically said basically. Like, now I am. Can you tell? Okay. Anyway, my goodness, I almost did it again. Anywho. That's another one I do sometimes. But I think this is the first one in 14 minutes. So send my reward. Anywho, and it's the same effect, actually, come to think of it. I thought, but you know what? I'm going to tell him next time I see him, especially if things keep unfolding well. I really wish you had communicated better. I understand that you worked for a nonprofit. The hard part was, and I don't remember Glenn's situation with work, and it certainly wasn't as good as it is now, even if it was at the same place. I still wasn't making money, and I put money making and happiness high up there in what success means. And I also, if I have a service I'm offering or something an experience something that I'm offering that I think it makes sense to ask for money, I do that across the board. I try and be flexible if people are struggling. But yeah, so basically, and it was awkward. I like asked him 3 times, you haven't paid, a reminder of the amount, whatever. He just kept avoiding it. And I blocked him on Facebook, whatever. And, oh my bad. And basically, it was kind of like, but with these great things that are happening, and if they continue to happen and be great, it's kind of like, wow, you know, I'm doing much better. That doesn't bother me anymore because I'm not struggling anymore, if that makes sense. But, I think it's still important, whether it makes any difference as to how he communicates or not, and people are how they are, but they can grow. To say, I wish you would have said better. I mean, sure, it may have seemed obvious, and I get like that too. Sometimes it's like, well, this is obvious. Why should I have that? I should be getting an apology or a thank you or this kind of reaction. And if I'm not, like, why? Right? But it's kind of like, well, that's why you do it gentle. You say you don't come at the person, and I'm learning this, and maybe this is why I've had the struggles I've had. In most cases, you shouldn't go to the person and say, well, it should have been obvious, like, unless you're stupid or something like that. But just in case it wasn't obvious, I work for a nonprofit. I would not have been able, unless it was my own money, which I had to go on my life, whatever it was, blah, blah, to have paid you. Because don't get me wrong. Initially, maybe I didn't think about it, and then I kind of did. And it was kind of like, but yet I wasn't sure, and it's kind of, I wasn't sure, and I thought, you agreed upon this and blah, blah, and just say that you couldn't. Or like I said, that one example with the yard work one. Really sorry if you felt like you were looking forward to this, like we promised it to you or whatever. They probably thought to themselves, or she probably thought to herself, I never promised them. Well, that's how it came across to me, right? Because of my need, not just selfish though, like to be helpful to her, and them being agreeable, right? So it's kind of like, it's great when people try to do good for each other and help each other out and be caring and understanding and communicate well and all this and that. And that's how it should be, right? As we get a viewer. But nobody owes you anything, unfortunately, And having that mindset, just like expectations as the viewer goes. It's like, I don't know your viewership. No, expectations, somebody said to me earlier today, they're not necessarily bad, but if you play, essentially, didn't say it this way, I don't think, but if you place too much on them, you could be disappointed. But I just feel like I have so many people involved, so many people that are being so nice and accepting and, welcoming and all this and that. And I've got my foot in the door literally very many times. And, like maybe that one lady, she just expressed something. I found her like almost instantly on Facebook, expressed something because, she was looking for some help. And maybe she was acting out of desperation too, to the point where, she could tell that I wasn't just a client, but maybe even if I had been, maybe that's where she was acting a little unsure. Like she was hanging around, but not saying anything. Comes up to me and introduces herself and says I run the youth programs and I'm looking to have some, and it may not all work out, but some better. And if it all does well, I'll try my best and I'll know how my capacity. But it's kind of like, and I'm looking to, have help, especially in the arts, but music, okay, cool. She didn't see I had my guitar until it was already in the other office. And I hadn't even really said much to her about anything. I don't know if somebody else did, but it could have just been like she was doing this all by herself. She needed help out of desperation. Here's somebody who obviously is becoming more involved at this place, seems like a nice man, and I introduce myself and say I need help, essentially. Again, it's great when people see each other, make them feel valued, all those other things I said. And that's how it should be, as much as possible. But really, I've learned from experiences that didn't work out in my life. Sometimes there's reasons. And again, it's good when people communicate very well, or communicate well, like in ways that I don't find hard, actually. But nobody owes you apologies, thank yous, reasons. And some people very much have that attitude, unfortunately, that they don't. It's like all these great things are happening where some of the bad stuff or iffy stuff that's happened in my life, especially in my 30s, even though I'm still maybe healing in some ways, they're not bothering me as much. And I thought it occasionally, like over the past at least year or two, if things would be better, I just won't be jealous about other people's, success, because I'll have it too, just like I deserve to. Or a couple setbacks or whatever here and there won't affect me. I'm starting to see it. I'm really starting to see it. It's kind of like, yeah, I don't need to hold on to those things anymore. And I hope you can apply this to some of your life situations. And if you're at a point where you feel like you can't, again, you let me do this because I don't have a very up and running YouTube channel at the moment. Life coaching, and I do it, and you're welcome to reach out. But the point of the matter is that they just don't matter as much anymore. I'm surprised I've not gotten sore sitting here, but I've had an insult, and it's not, and feeling pretty good, but I should get downstairs. But yeah, so stay positive. Remember to communicate well, have empathy, see the value in people, take chances. Later, maybe I'll talk a bit more about things as things unfold. But sometimes it is the right decision you can make for yourself, or at that time it is anyway. And maybe in general it is. But I was staying in my showers where, I don't know who I'm going to run into. It might be somebody I don't want to run into. Although some I would mind. And then it's kind of like, and even the one who I'm actually been around quite a bit, I had to tell myself, maybe it was this or this, and that was why. I don't want to know if it was any other reason, because I can accept these two reasons. I've moved on, and I'm very happy I did. And I've been going excitedly, for the most part, to a place that I had been, for a while I wasn't really thinking about one way or another, but then I had been avoiding it. And now it's like a second home, a second family. And it's still the beginning stages, but I'm trying not to get overly excited too soon. I know I can be disappointed, but there just feels like there's so much involved. Some of it's got to work, and when people say, everything was good, and then suddenly everything's taken, from me, like, that's maybe exaggerating, or it's almost everything, but it's not actually everything. But that's not to say it's not hard, but but I hope that doesn't happen. I hope all this good stuff does, and I've alluded to it, but I've got to go for now. But yeah, and basically, I haven't said about those in a while. It's kind of like, yeah, these opportunities could have been there for me a long time ago, but also I didn't know about the one line that kind of helped me get the foot in the door until I think the worker mentioned it to me. And then because of my eagerness, I went there, and one thing's led to another, or looked potentially to do so. And then they also had an event there, and I did some networking, and it's like, yeah, but you know what? It's also a perfect example of, and it's so hard, I know, being patient, and when the time is right, things will happen. And you could even say, doing the work, doing the stuff that we don't necessarily see, even if we're gifted, that get us to a spot where, to these spots. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.